Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm SM Cornthwaite, the author of Jack the Ripper, The Man Behind the Blade, as well as the Hollow Screams book series for children. Today on the show, we're going to be going over the April book haul. I actually started getting these books at the end of March, but I thought, since I already did a March book haul, go ahead and save them for the April book haul. So first things first, we got another Goosebumps collector's tin. This is the one with the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, Stay Out of the Basement, Werewolf of Fever Swamp, Haunted School, and Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. I did order this off Amazon because we went to a different Barnes & Noble and they didn't have any of these. So I had to order it off Amazon and it came, I don't know if you can see that, but it's dented here and the seam is actually not connected anymore there. And then it's the same way up top here. I mean, it's not bad. Go ahead and take this out and show you guys. It's not too bad. And as you can see, you can't really see any light, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on camera or not, but see that right there? Yeah. I'm not happy about that, but oh well. I don't really feel like sending it back, and it's just a collector's tin anyway. I didn't expect it to last. You know, I just set it up on my shelves with the others. So we have here, as I said, we have the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, which I never actually read most of these during the original release. We have the Haunted School, Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. Now, I did read, or I listened to the audiobooks of Stay Out of the Basement, which I also watched the Goosebumps episode for that. And the Werewolf of Fever Swamp, I listened to the audiobook of. I really like R.L. Stine's writing. I love his Goosebumps books. I've been getting into the Fear Street books, which I wasn't really into when I was younger. I know they're more almost high school level. Still, I never really got into Fear Street. I was more of a Goosebumps guy, but I'm getting into it now. Up next, we have a series that really brought back some memories for me, and that's Encyclopedia Brown. I'm not sure how many of you read Encyclopedia Brown growing up. I did, and I watched the HBO TV series. Yeah, we have Encyclopedia Brown, everyone's favorite boy detective. Boy Detective is number 1. I'm not sure if these are reprints of the originals or if they're new, updated stories. I don't know, but I'll probably be reading them this summer. So we've got Boy Detective. We have Encyclopedia Brown and the Case of the Secret Pitch. Encyclopedia Brown Gets His Man. Encyclopedia Brown Solves Them All. And I ordered these in a bundle on Amazon. They were actually pretty cheap, so I'm pretty happy about that. Encyclopedia Brown Keeps the Peace. Encyclopedia Brown and the Case of the Dead Eagles. Encyclopedia Brown Lends a Hand. For those of you who haven't heard of Encyclopedia Brown, if you're into the Hardy Boys mysteries and Nancy Drew, then Encyclopedia Brown is a book for you. We have Encyclopedia Brown Takes the Case. Encyclopedia Brown Shows the Way. This looks like it might be a ghost story. Encyclopedia Brown tracks them down. And these are all by Donald J. Sobel. Encyclopedia Brown saves the day. Encyclopedia Brown was a very popular juvenile detective during the 80s and 90s. He didn't quite reach the popularity of the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew or the longevity, but he came pretty close. Like I said, he had his own HBO miniseries, maybe as a series, I'm not sure. But yeah, I enjoyed watching that. My mom would send us over to my grandparents' house early in the morning before school when she had to go to work. So my grandparents had satellite, and we'd watch Encyclopedia Brown on HBO before school. It was on at like 6 in the morning or something like that. Up next, we have the Hatchet series by Gary Paulson. First one is Hatchet. I read this book. I believe I might have been in 6th grade when I read this book. I really enjoyed it. I can't say enough good things about this book. I really liked it. It won the Newbery Honor Book Prize. The best-selling classic survival story with more than 4.5 million copies sold. So it's a really good book. If you haven't read it, if you haven't heard of it, check it out. I'll give you the description of this one. 13-year-old Brian Robeson is on his way to visit his father when the single-engine plane in which he is flying crashes. Suddenly, Brian finds himself alone in the Canadian wilderness with nothing but a tattered windbreaker and the hatchet his mother gave him as a present, and the dreadful secret that has been tearing him apart since his parents' divorce. But now Brian has no time for anger, self-pity, or despair. It will take all his know-how and determination and more courage than he knew he possessed to survive. So that's the first book in the series. Looks like there might have been other books, maybe not necessarily in the Hatchet series, but other survival style books. And then its sequel, The River, which I also read sometime in middle school, I want to say. I can't remember exactly when. This is the direct sequel. Really good book. I would put it up there with The Hatchet. And then after that, we have Brian's Winter. These next three I have not read. So we have Brian's Winter. We have Brian's Hunt. And we have Brian's Return. So I can't wait to read those this summer. I'll probably start off with Hatchet, since it's been so long since I've read it, and The River. Even though I remember what happens in both books, sometimes it's good to just reread a book from your childhood. That's why I got these to be read. I got them to add to my collection because I loved Hatchet, I loved The River. Plus, my kids, they're in doing that reading tests or whatever it is in school. So I figured, get these, give them something to read whenever they can't find anything at the library or whatever. Up next, we have Goosebumps Most Wanted, The 12 Screams of Christmas. Kate Wells just wants the lead role in her school's Christmas play. Her annoying friend, Courtney, is constantly getting in the way of that. But Kate has to get along with her, or else neither of them will be allowed to take part in the production of the 12 Screams of Christmas. Even worse, Kate and Courtney's teacher decides that they need to find a special place to rehearse. A certain house with a lot of history. The kind of place that Kate would normally be pretty frightened to go into. The kind of place that gives new meaning to the term Christmas spirit. This is one of the newer Goosebumps books. We've also got Goosebumps Most Wanted, The Haunter. Sammy Baker is a quiet kid who wishes he wasn't so shy and timid. He is frightened but eager to prove he can be brave. On Halloween night, he follows his friends to the Marple House, an abandoned mansion on the other side of town. Just past midnight, he feels a cold tingle at the back of his neck. The chill spreads across his body. It's unlike anything he's ever felt before. Soon, his whole head feels like a block of ice. He's about to scream, but the frigid sensation vanishes. Sammy doesn't realize that he just met the haunter and that his nightmares are only just beginning. I haven't really read any of the newer Goosebumps books. I keep saying Goosebumps books. So I'm hoping that they're as good as the originals. Up next, we have this I picked up from Goodwill. A few of these I picked up from Goodwill, actually. This is by Kim Harrison, The Good, the Bad, and the Undead. In the Hollows, Vampires Are Only the Beginning. This is from the author of Dead Witch Walking. We stopped by Goodwill when we were out of town in Champaign, Illinois, a couple weeks ago. And we stopped by Barnes & Noble there. Normally we go to Springfield. This time we went to Champaign, picked up a bunch of books at Barnes & Noble, and we picked up a bunch of books at Goodwill. So this will be an interesting read once I get to it, if I get to it. Up next, we have a few Christmas books that I picked up from Goodwill. I read a Christmas book last Christmas. It was one of the cheap ones from Love Inspired. They're like $5 at Walmart or whatever. And it was actually pretty good. It was a lot like a Hallmark movie. So I saw that the Goodwill had a few other Christmas books in that same line. So I got A Small Town Christmas Challenge from Susan Dietz. Finding a Christmas Home by Lee Tobin McLean. The Prodigal's Holiday Hope by Jill Kimmerer. Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. 3 holiday romances. So, normally I don't read romance books, but when it comes to Christmas stories, you just can't help but get into a good Christmas romance. I love watching Hallmark Christmas movies during November and December. I couldn't put the one book I read last winter down. I read it in like no time at all, really. So I thought I'd check these out. They were pretty cheap. They were all at Goodwill, so and I'll probably be reading those next December, along with the 12 Screams of Christmas, because that one will wait until next December as well as another Christmas horror book that I have over there that I got from the library a few months back. Now we have a couple memoirs that I picked up from Goodwill. We have A Reporter's Life, Walter Cronkite. For those of you not old enough to remember, Walter Cronkite was a reporter. He only told the facts and let the audience make up their own minds. Unlike the media and the news that we have today, where they force feed everything down your throat and expect you to listen to them and share their opinions. Walter Cronkite was one of the last real newsmen. So I'm interested in reading that. And we've also got The Duck Commander Family, How Faith, Family, and Ducks Built a Dynasty. Also from Goodwill. I was a fan of the TV series, so this will be interesting. And I've got another Duck Commander book up there called Happy, Happy, Happy by Rick Robertson. We'll see how this is. Next, we have a Darcy Coates haul. For viewers of this channel, I am a very big Darcy Coates fan. So I picked up a few of her books. I believe last time I shared with you a Darcy Coates haul as well of The Whispering Dead and The Ravenous Dead. Actually, I want to say that I did not. That was a review I did of The Ravenous Dead and The Whispering Dead, which should be included in this haul. But since I already did a review on them, I'm not going to include them in this haul, even though I got them about the same time. Let's go ahead and start. We have Quarter to Midnight, 15 Tales of Horror and Suspense by Darcy Coates. We have Dead Lake, The Haunting of Gillespie House, and Parasite. This one looks a lot different than normal Darcy Coates books. This one looks more science fiction horror, kind of like Alien, because it takes place on the moon, I want to say, and it has to do with extraterrestrial life. So this, I'm probably going to save this for last of my Darcy Coates books. I got it because I'm a completist. I love Darcy Coates books, so, I had to get it, There's just no way around it. I had to get it. An author she's very similar to Darcy Coates. I've read her book, The Cottage. I've also listened to her other audiobooks, which all of her books take place in the same universe. The detectives in the stories usually the same. They kind of cross over between the stories. They aren't main characters. They're kind of dumb, really. At least one of them is. The male detective is pretty dumb, very misogynistic. They're good stories nonetheless. The main portion of the stories are pretty good. So this one is Taken. They have a very similar format to Darcy Coates' haunted books. These aren't like supernatural thrillers like Darcy Coates. These are more crime thrillers, but they read like a Darcy Coates book, if that makes sense. So I'm interested in reading this one. Next is one that I'm currently reading that I'm almost finished with. It is the 40th anniversary edition of William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist. If you haven't read this, if you've only seen the movie, you're missing out. I'm telling you. They really adapted this to the movie, or adapted the movie from this almost completely, especially in the extended unseen edition that came out in the 90s. But this, you get more insight into the characters, into what they're feeling, what they're experiencing, what they're thinking. Everything else, it almost completely was taken from this book and put into the movie. Very, very nice. This very graphic too. Be warned. Very, very good read. Blatty he's an amazing author. I've been reading this every chance I get. My only complaint is, I don't know if it was a product of the time, but the chapters go on and on and on. The scenes, they're broken up by characters. Or the chapters are broken up by characters. So where in today's books, a scene would be, or a chapter would be like one movie scene, this has, each chapter follows a specific character. So even if that crosses over to multiple scenes, like Damien meeting Chris and going to the house and meeting Reagan for the first time, going back to his place and studying, coming back to Chris's house, talking to Reagan again, going back and studying, that all takes place in one extended chapter. It's like 40 pages long, something like that. So that is my only problem with this book, is the chapters. There have been a couple that have been a decent size. But for someone like me who, when I read, I'll read like a chapter or two at a time. If I'm tired, that way I can come back to it and not lose my place. I know exactly where I left off and everything. This, you can't really do that with. Reading a chapter of time at a time would be like reading 10 chapters of a normal book. So that's my only problem. But other than that, an amazing, amazing read. I watched the movie, the unseen edition from the late 90s, just 2 nights ago. And it was almost identical to the book. So then we have The New Science of the Paranormal, From the Research Lab to Real Life. This is kind of a textbook. I mean, maybe not a textbook, but like a research book. I am into the paranormal, even though I don't necessarily believe in all aspects of the paranormal. I do believe it's an interesting, something interesting to study, and I've been doing it most of my life. So I got this. Looks like an interesting read. It's fairly cheap on Amazon, so I picked it up. This has to do with extrasensory perception, the out-of-body experience, psychokinesis, clairvoyance, mental telepathy, precognition, dowsing, objectology, the human aura, past life memories, and more. Ancient wisdom to modern science. This is by Carl Llewellyn, Weshik, and Joe H. Slate, PhDs. Looking forward to reading that. And then we have, it's a used textbook. It was supposed to be in really good condition, and I actually bought it from Amazon, but it came with a rental sticker on it. So I wasn't too happy about that. And it came in okay condition, not the good condition that I had ordered it in. But this is Wayne Petherick's Profiling and Serial Crime, Theoretical and Practical Issues, 3rd edition. Being an author myself and being into true crime, studying psychology and criminal justice, I felt I had to get this book. It's really going to help with my other channel, Psychology of the Unknown, where we discuss serial killers, mass murderers, and spree killers. Plus, since I'm going to be pursuing a master's in forensic psychology and a doctorate in clinical psychology, I felt I should pick this up. This book, my son actually picked up for me while we were at Barnes & Noble. He went with his mom. I went with my daughter, and he wanted to get this one for me because he knew I liked Greek mythology. And this is the leather-bound edition, Epic Tales, Greek Myths and Tales. And just look at the shine on that. I really like that. The Epic Tales Collection, a potent pantheon of gods, heroes engaged in epic battles, fearsome mythical creatures, supernatural transformations. Such fantastical elements infuse Greek myths with a wonder and excitement that's hard to beat. These tales of love, courage, conflict, and intrigue, from the labors of Heracles to the adventures of Odysseus, shared for thousands of years, are still powerful today. This is going in with my leather-bound collection. It's going to be a while probably before I get a chance to read this. I remember studying Greek mythology in 6th grade. It was my favorite part of 6th grade, was Greek and Norse and Egyptian mythology. That was nice. And then I picked this one up by Goodwill, or from Goodwill. This is Myths and Legends, an illustrated guide to their origins and meanings. Explore the world's great myths and legends, brought to life in this enthralling retelling of age-old stories passed down from generation to generation, from the heroes of ancient Greece to the dreaming of Australian Aborigines. Here are the myths that, thousands of years after they were first told, are still relevant today. That looked cool. It caught my eye while at Goodwill. That is it for this April book haul. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys saw something in there that you liked. If you'd like me to do an in-depth review on any of the books you saw here today, leave it in the comments below. Also, be sure to check out my review on The Ravenous Dead and The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. It's on the channel right before this video, so check that out. I've been SM Cornthwaite. Don't forget to pick a copy up of my book Jack the Ripper, The Man Behind the Blade, and or Hollow Scream's Ghost House and Hollow Scream's Day of the Dolls. These are children's horror books along the lines of Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, stuff like that. And then Jack the Ripper, The Man Behind the Blade is my own personal theory of who I believe Jack the Ripper it is. It is pretty graphic. It goes in depth into the investigation, into theory, into psychology, neurology, sociology, criminology, stuff like that. It's true crime. Check this out. I've been SM Cornthwaite. Take care.